Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Universally Epic Podcast, your go to Universal Orlando trip planning podcast. I'm your host and travel agent, Jim Klein, and in today's show, we'll discuss the big news coming out of Universal Orlando this week about Rip Ride Rockit, and we celebrate the new year at Universal as we look ahead to all the important dates that you'll need to know about Universal Orlando coming up in 2025. And I guess we're going to mention May 22nd at some point. And to help me out, I have the star of episodes 3 and 4. When she's not on the podcast, you can find her helping out her guests at the Magic for Less Travel or having a drink at the hot tub at Cabana Bay Beach Resort. Taylor Franklin, thank you very much for coming on.
Hi, I'm so excited I'm back.
Uh, so, so we're going to talk about. There's some big news coming out of Universal this week. It's all over social media, and Universal has confirmed it that Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit is in fact closing. We had mentioned it on episode 3 when we were talking and doing our roller coaster rankings. That like this roller coaster's kind of reached the end of its life anyway. Um,
Yeah.
so which it did rank like last in our ranking. So we could see that coming a mile away. And we did mention that. So this is no surprise, right?
No, I think it was kinda just a matter of time. There's kind of like, when we get towards the end of the year, there's some indicators that Universal might be announcing something soon, especially with all the insiders and stuff that are always watching for permits, that are watching for, licenses and things like that, and it was pretty expected, I think, at least among people that are actually watching those things. People were not surprised to see the Rip Ride Rockets going away.
Yeah, when you mentioned the permits, I think that's the first thing I saw like about a week ago or last
Yeah.
week, early last week was like everybody's
Mhm.
posting about the permits. Um, so let me give a little background on Rip Ride Rockin'. So it opened in August 19th, 2009. It's going to be closing September of 2025. So what is that? Like 16-year run? Not bad. It just hasn't had the like I guess the same type of length of like the Hulk, but the Hulk has been like retracked a bunch of times, so it's been like you know modified and updated. This is not. Um, so some some interesting facts about Rip Ride Rocket. So it has a 167-foot vertical lift. It reaches a top speed of 65 miles an hour. It's, that makes it the 3rd fastest roller coaster at Universal Orlando. The Hulk is
Mhm.
67 miles an hour and Velocicoaster's is 70. So, um, when we talk about what's gonna replace this, it's gonna have to be in that range, I would imagine,
Yeah.
when they put in a new coaster there. Um, what's unique about this ride is you were able to choose your song during the lift, and there was a main menu there that had 5 songs, but then there was also a secret menu that I guess most people in the know knew about, but so when you got on the ride, if you held down the logo, the Rip Ride Rocket logo for 10 seconds, you access another menu with like a bunch of different songs. And if you did it quick enough, you could pick your you hit the right song if you knew the number. Basically, there's like some charts online that you can find. The only thing about the secret menu though is you weren't able to purchase the video of your experience because of the licensing agreements. So that's interesting. A little
Yeah.
tidbit that I found out. So that was interesting. Um, have you ever did the secret menu, or you just kind of went with what they got?
Yeah, I just kinda went with what they
Yeah,
got.
it's a little much. You're already getting into a roller coaster that like is going to hurt you. So it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
focus a little bit. Um,
Song or no song, it still hurts me.
So another interesting thing is like that first drop, and you go into that loop, that like iconic loop now. Um, you never go upside down actually, so it kind of twists you at the top, and it looks as though you're going to go upside down, but you're not. So that was kind of cool to learn eat too. Um, so let's get into what we think is going to replace, not what we think. I have some rumors. Like I found some rumors online. First off is Fast and the Furious. I'm assuming that's because of what's going on over in Universal Hollywood. They're opening Fast and the Furious roller coaster that looks really incredible. Um,
It does, doesn't it? It's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it does look cool. It goes throughout the whole park. It's really nice. And it kind of has that same like feeling of Rip Ride Rockit where it's going in between, like, buildings and stuff like that. Um,
Mhm.
so what do you think? You think you think they're gonna do Fast and Furious? I kinda hope they get rid of Fast and the Furious, like, Supercharged over there. That was the worst ride I've ever been on. But,
I
like,
would I think I would be more inclined to believe that that's gonna be Fast and Furious if we had also heard that they were, like, for sure shutting down Supercharged.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. But we need to shut down Supercharged anyway, right?
We
Like,
so do.
it
It's
is
got such a big footprint in that corner of the park that, like, literally anything else could use.
it's awful. It's awful. From the pre-show, like, they don't need a live person in the pre-show, like, getting absolute zeros from the crowd. Like, it is just so
Yeah.
uncomfortable in there, and then you get on this bus, and it's like, I swear if I hear "family" one more time, I'm jumping off the bus, you know what I mean? It is
Oh my god.
incredibly uncomfortable. Like, it is just I know this is off track, but, like, I would love to hear that they're shutting down like, I wouldn't mind going on a Fast and Furious roller coaster because it kinda makes sense, right? But,
Right, and that's why, like, when they announced that they were doing it for Hollywood, I was actually like, "Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
A roller coaster makes sense for Fast and Furious, I think."
yeah, it's in the name, right? Fast, like, it's
Yeah.
it's in the name. Instead, we get a 2-mile-an-hour bus ride through some screens. It's
It's so
awful,
bad.
awful. I've never been on a worse ride, I don't think. And you know what? That was the last ride I went on because I never been on it before, so I'm like, "Alright, I'll go on it." That was our last ride of our family
Oh,
trip. Yeah,
no.
that's
You
how
ended it with
yeah, yeah, we
Supercharged?
had to do it supercharged. Like, literally, one of the biggest regrets of my life is doing
It's
that.
it's it's interesting because, like, I don't super mind the screen rides, I mean, I love Spider-Man, I love Transformers, I love King Kong for the big surprise at the end,
Yeah. Oh,
um,
that is
but
really
there's something about Fast and Furious, it's just boring.
yeah. It's just like, "Oh, we're family," and then you just watch a movie basically of a guy jumping over off a car. It's like, it's the absolute worst.
When he
It's
grabs onto the helicopter, it's crazy.
so if I'll be all in on Fast and the Furious roller coaster if they get rid of Supercharged.
Yeah,
I'm all in on that. Another one that I found was Back to the Future, which I think would be kinda cool. Back to the Future has gained some life again with the Broadway show, that's all over social media as
mhm.
well. That's kinda cool. Like, I could see it happening, like, I could see the ride and the story of it. I don't know. It might be cool.
Yeah, I just wonder if it wouldn't stay a roller coaster, like, if that would just become a dark ride or something like that
Yeah.
for Back to the Future.
Yeah, it would be nice
Um,
to have a dark ride. Well, let's put Back to the Future in where Supercharged is, right? And then
yes,
and then we could
perfect.
do a different roller coaster where Rip Ride Rocket is now. Um,
Mhm.
and then the last one I found was Ghostbusters. Now, I don't know how a roller coaster in Ghostbusters would work, um, but that has seen a huge resurgence as well with all the new movies and stuff. Uh,
Yeah,
I just don't know
like a
how
race through New York kinda thing, maybe?
I guess so, right? I read somewhere on social that maybe move the entrance back more into New York over there, and
Yeah.
so it has a little bit better of a theme. I don't know,
Mhm.
it might work.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So, is there anything other than those three that you think might fit in there?
I think, um, I think that I don't want it to be, but I worry that we might get, like, another kind of generic roller coaster that goes over there, so it's not, like, specifically themed to an IP or something,
Hmm.
um, like the Rip Ride Rockit, but it's not the Rip Ride Rockit anymore. Um, I think we might get something like that, but what I think would be really fun, I know they're not gonna do it, but, like, if I could plan what this roller coaster would be, I think a Minions roller coaster would be really funny.
It'd be great. I was
Like an
thinking.
actual, like, thrill ride roller coaster, not like a kiddie roller coaster, like an actual Minions
It
roller
would be
coaster.
very cool. Like, it would be very, very cool to see, like, a Minions themed and it would go so well right after because
Mhm.
the entrance is right there. So it would expand that land and make it a little bit bigger because we've already talked about how like small Minions Land is. It's kind of just like a step through, but like
Mhm.
that would expand that land and it would be kind of it would make sense. It would. I like
Yeah.
that idea a lot. Um, you know, the the thought of the IPs, like, so you would rather an IP go in there rather than just a like a non, you know what I'm saying? Like, would you rather it tied to some sort of property of Universal or
You see, and I go back and forth on it because, like, I don't necessarily think that everything has to be themed to an IP, um, but also at the same time, what else in Universal isn't themed to an
true?
IP?
Very true. Very true.
And
That
that's kind of like Universal is such a big, like, conglomerate. You've got so many things in Universal or that fall under the Universal umbrella that it's not like, oh, well, everything in Disney is Disney themed because it's all Disney. You've
yeah.
got Universal where you've got um like Jurassic Park and Harry Potter and like all kinds of things that are kind of under the same umbrella. Um so like I feel like it probably should be themed to an IP, but I wouldn't be mad if it wasn't.
Yeah, it does make sense that, like, and like you said, it's such a huge corporation that, like, they have plenty of stuff to choose from.
Mhm.
I just wanna see it work where it is, right? Like, so I don't want it to just be like, "Oh, we're just gonna throw in a Ghostbusters with no, like, actual reason for it." You know what I mean?
Right. Mhm.
It would be cool, and it just, but is it? I don't know. I always find, like, theming on roller coasters kinda hard to understand. Even, like, Velocicoaster, like, I get what they're doing, and I love
Mhm.
Velocicoaster, but, like, when I'm going 70 miles an hour and I'm out of my seat half the time, like, I'm not thinking of, like, "Oh, we're in a rapture," like, in
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think
Yeah.
like I guess some people do, and I guess that's, like, the whole, that's why they hire people to, like, do all this stuff, um, because there needs to be a backstory, I guess, for, like, marketing purposes. But
Yeah.
once you're in the ride, like, what are you gonna see? Like, the Ghostbusters, you're just gonna go through a few, like, tunnels and stuff, like, so you
Right, and yeah, and I get what you're saying, like, what is the like, you're not thinking about it when you're going upside down on a roller coaster.
yeah, it doesn't make sense, like,
Um,
I don't
it's
get
really more for, like, the line cue and the lil and the beat and the lead up
exactly,
into the roller coaster.
exactly, which would be kinda cool, like, getting back to your Minions one, like, the queue could be really, really cool. It could be really, really cool.
It could be like Villain Con, where you're, like, going through, like, the convention center.
You could literally put the line through VillainCon, you could just shoot things as you're waiting online.
Oh my god, imagine. That would be so funny.
Because VillainCon is another one that kinda looks like it's been thrown together. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there is 0 organization in that place. I couldn't believe, and, we were so excited, like, I love, like, arcade style, like,
Mhm.
attractions, but man, you're just shooting, you don't even know where your sensor is, like, and you're just like, it's
It's that one could use some work, I think.
yeah,
Maybe
it just wasn't there wasn't enough thought put into it, like, in other
yeah.
attractions like that, right, at the end, you get a score, right? And I guess you do have a score at the end if you look at your blaster, but or if you link it up to your phone in the
Mhm.
app. But, like, I tried doing that. I didn't there's not enough time to do that. Like, they just kinda throw a blaster at you, and you just get in, and you just start moving and shooting, and it's just like,
I
"Ah."
do wish, like, where they gave you the blasters was further back in the line queue, so you could if you were having connection issues, you could, like, figure out what was
Yeah,
wrong with
like,
it.
because now you're, like, stepping off to the side, you're trying to it was got so frustrating. So I was just like, "You know what? I'm not gonna
Mhm.
do it." Like, it's not worth it. Like, almost when you walk into the building, like, that's when they should be, like, connecting you with the app, like,
Mhm.
because there's plenty of time there, and you're standing in that building, so I don't know. Uh, we're off track again, but,
When aren't we?
yeah,
We always go
I
off
know.
on
Yeah,
tangents.
that's it. Uh, yeah, so Rip Ride Rocket, um, you know, I wanna say that I hate to see it go, but I really don't. I'd love a nice smoother roller coaster in there, one
Same.
that, you don't have to, like, get hurt every time you go on, and I think that's, like, it was about time that they they figure something out. But like,
Yeah.
so here's the other thing though. So now this is going to close in September. Now,
I was hoping you were gonna talk about this.
like Epic is coming on in May, which we'll talk about
Mhm.
later. But what happens to the front of the park there? Like the amount of like you're taking down the whole roller coaster, right? Like, so what does
Yeah.
it look like?
I would like to think that, like, because the entrance into Rip Ride Rockit is kind of, like, pushed back,
Step back, yeah,
um, like, over behind where, like, the show building for Minion Mayhem is. Um, it's kind of, like, pushed back and offset. I would like to think that, like, a lot of the construction and stuff won't run into, like, the actual park,
yeah,
um, at least not enough for it to be, like, substantial.
yeah,
But what I'm actually really concerned about it closing in September is that a lot of those, like, back areas and stuff are used for the line queues for Halloween Horror Nights,
yeah. So
and, like, a lot of the crowds and stuff are, like, on the Rip Ride Rockit because it's, aside from the Mummy, it's, like, one of the only thrill rides that's actually open during HHN.
yeah, so basically they're gonna have to open another ride, right? Like at least
You would think.
to help out with the crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna do there. You know, so yeah, I guess it's gonna look different. Obviously,
Mhm.
you're right. It is pushed back a little bit, so it might work out where there's gonna be minimal, um, effect on the actual sight lines. But
Mhm.
like you said, like HHN using that space, it's gonna be interesting. And
I
then
think there's at least 2 houses that kind of, like, go back there, like, under the Rip Ride Rockit, like, for you to line up and queue for it, 'cause,
gotcha.
it and I just don't know how we
Yeah.
accomplish that
All right. Well, we'll see what
safely.
happens. I'm sure they'll give detail. Well, when HHN like releases all their information in a couple months,
Mhm.
like you'll obviously they'll let us know. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting how they're gonna put where
Yeah.
everything's gonna go now after
Mhm.
September. And like you said, it's if it starts in September, you're starting to prep before that too. So we'll see. We'll see where how that goes. Yeah, that's interesting. All right. So Rip Ride Rocket, goodbye. We're not gonna miss you. We're excited to see
Sayonara.
what's coming. Um, we'll take a little break right now, and when we get back, we'll go into some important dates to know in 2025 coming to Universal Orlando. All right. So stay right there, and we'll be right back. The Universally Epic podcast is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel, a Universal You Preferred travel agency. If you are looking to plan your next Universal Orlando vacation, let's do it together. As a certified Universal specialist, I can help guide you through the planning process with helpful tips and tricks along the way. The best part, all my travel planning services are absolutely free to use. And when you book your Universal Orlando vacation with me, you qualify for an exclusive booking bonus offer from the Magic Plus Travel, a $25 Universal gift card for all vacation packages over $2,500. Ready to start planning? Email me at jim.klein@themagicforless.com to start planning your next epic Universal vacation. Welcome back, everybody. So our next portion, we're going to get into some important dates to know in 2025. The biggest, obviously, being Epic. So let's start in January. January, we had talked about some of these resorts in earlier podcasts, so go back and listen to those. But Stella Nova Resort is opening January 21st, 2025.
Mhm.
Um, and then also in January, we have January 24th and 25th is the Rock the Universe Christian Music Festival. Um, Little side note, I was down there, did not know about the Rock the Universe was going on when I booked it. And
Mhm.
so it honestly, the crowds aren't that bad. But it was more like an evening thing. You know, the only thing to note on that is that the parks do close a little earlier for that, so it's not included in your park ticket. The next big thing to know about is Mardi Gras, International Flavors of Carnival. That is going to be running from February 1st to March 30th. Now, Mardi Gras is kind of a cool festival that they do down in Universal. It's got food booths, it's got live music, which is included in your park ticket. They also have this. They have parades nightly, like a Mardi Gras parade with floats. One thing to note is they do have a ride and dine package that you can book. So what you get with the ride and dine, it's you get a 3 course meal at a participating restaurant. You get an appetizer, entree, dessert, and a non-alcoholic beverage, and then you also get to ride on one of the parade floats, which is kind of cool. Like I think that's a cool little thing you can do. That ride and dine, though, the only caveat is that you need to be 18 and older to ride on um, the float or accompanied by a parent that's over 18.
Yep.
And then all riders have to be 48 inches in height to ride.
Mhm.
Um,
I heard it's really, really fun though.
yeah, I hear a
Really, really
lot that it's such a great experience. It's obviously, it comes at an extra cost. Uh, the pricing starts at $90 per person, but you also get a meal. Like a 3 course meal at Universal, like could run you, up there, like, so if you price it out,
true.
appetizer, entree, dessert, you're probably around that $50 mark and a drink, right? You're at probably $50, $60 a person just for that food, and then you pay an extra 30 bucks to ride on the float. Not a bad deal. I don't think it's a bad deal.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's a good, it's a different experience. Like, when
Mhm.
at a theme park can you ride on one of the floats? Like, it's kinda cool,
Yeah.
like,
I'm,
it's
we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we get to go down for Mardi Gras this year. I've
nice.
been trying for the past, like, 2 years to get down for Mardi Gras, and I keep we everything keeps happening in the span of those couple of months that it's running for.
Yeah, and I heard that the food booths are really good too. Like, I heard the food is very good. The
Yeah,
shows are good. Like, they do it really well, and it runs a pretty long time. So for 2 months, it's a good stretch. Like, I'm not sure how long it ran last year. I think it's about the same. Um,
I think so.
yeah, but like, it's definitely a cool experience. Something different when you're going to the parks. Um, and then in March you have Terra Luna Resort opening, which is like the sister resort of Stella Nova. Um, So the thing to note on Stella Nova and Terra Luna, those are going to be over by Epic Universe. They're going to have their
Mhm.
own walking paths over to Epic Universe. So that's something to note. Um, and then the big day next year to know is May 22nd, 2025. First off, Helios Grand Hotel is opening. Um, that is going to be a Mediterranean um, themed hotel that is attached to Epic Universe Park. It's going to have its own
Mhm.
separate private entrance into the park, and it is literally a focal point of Epic Universe. It is like part of the Celestial Park area. It looks grand. It looks great. Like, it looks amazing. Um, eh, Go ahead.
It's also not super crazy expensive.
Yeah, it's not. And
We looked into it because 'cause we're trying to get a bunch of our friends down for Epic, the same group that I took with me to HHN last year. We're trying to get everybody to go down for Epic, and they were like, "We wanna stay in the Helios Hotel," and I was like, "Okay." And then I was looking at it, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't that bad.
yeah,
Oh, I
no,
expected this to be so much worse."
and it's in the signature category of
Mhm,
hotels. Now, another thing to know is that it does not include express passes. So the express
mm-mm.
passes, when this comes online, it is going to be a signature hotel, but it doesn't include the unlimited express pass like the other three, um, which I guess is what's keeping the cost down, maybe, or like,
Probably.
right, like, I guess that's a little bit of it. Um, it's a big hotel, huge hotel, but
Mhm.
it looks amazing. It's very, very. like
It's
classic.
so pretty.
Yeah, very, very nice, and the lobby bar looks amazing. Like, everything looks just it's brand new. So, like, obviously everything's nice and shiny. Uh,
Mhm.
Now, what is interesting is that the Helios Grand Hotel is opening on May 22nd, and then also on the same day, Epic Universe is opening. So it's cool, and I'm wondering, like, I was thinking maybe like a day before, to get everybody settled in. So, like, you're
Mhm.
checking in and Epic is opening on the same day. So it's interesting.
Mhm.
I found it to be a little interesting. I don't know, like, I guess you could drop your bags and go. Like, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Because
you just leave them at bell services.
yeah, right. Like, it's interesting to because you also want to check out the room. Maybe it's a strategy too,
Yeah.
like maybe lighten people up.
Well, and with the way that they're doing the ticketing, as far as Universe goes, it's also possible people just aren't going on the first day. I mean, I'm
You're
sure obviously there will be crowds for the first day, but like I would probably venture to say that a pretty big majority of the people that are there are probably not going on opening day because everybody now at this point is like, "Oh, I don't want to do opening day because there's going to be crazy crowds."
Yeah, if you're staying at the Grand Helios, or Helios Grand, I always get it like mixed up. But the the ticketing packages, I guess you would have to be staying at another resort if you wanted to do Epic on that day and stay at the hotel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so if you wanted to be there on opening day, you would book maybe, like a couple nights before, get your package. Now, like, we had talked about this, I think, me and Jocelyn had talked about ticket packages. They're ranging from 3 to 5 days with only 1
Mhm.
day at Epic Universe. So you have to plan it pretty wisely. Um, the 3-day packages is 2 days in the other park, 1 day at Epic, and then up to 5 days, which is 4 days in the other 2 parks and 1 day at Epic. So you can only get 1 day at Epic. I guess if you're gonna go down there prior to the 22nd, maybe book like a 3-day, at,
Yeah.
you know, at like another resort, go to like Aventura, Cabana Bay, and then plan for your 1 day at Epic on the opening that day if you want to be there for opening day. And then
Mhm.
book another like 2-night stay at Helios where you could, in the middle of the day, just check your bags at the Helios, and then you just stay there. And then you can get
Mhm.
into Epic one more time during that week. So you have like a 6-day vacation, you have 2 days in Epic. I guess that's how I would probably plan it out if you really wanna be there on opening day.
Yeah, I just wouldn't suggest yeah, and I mean we're obviously on the same wavelength here. I just wouldn't suggest like checking into the hotel on that day if you're planning to go on opening day.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, yeah. Um, it's yeah, because you would have to yeah, that's a logistical nightmare, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, to, like, move your bags that day.
Well, and
Uh,
if you're going with your whole family, you're moving your bags that day, like you
yeah.
probably don't even get into the park until like noon.
True, true, very true, very true. Yeah, so stay the extra night at Cabana Bay, right? And then check in on the 23rd. There you go. And then start a new package, basically. You would have 2
Yeah.
separate packages, and so you can get into Epic twice in that 1 week.
Have yourself a nice little staycation, get a
Yeah,
drink in the hot tub,
there you go.
go stay at Cabana Bay, and then go check into the Helios Hotel.
Yeah, that works. Um, so obviously Epic Universe is like the big date to know. I think everybody,
Mhm,
like, we've been, I mentioned it at the beginning, the end, like, everything is about Epic Universe when it comes to Universal Orlando. Um, there's not much more to say, like, when we're going over dates, but it's going to be great. Huge, huge pop for Universal down there. Um,
mhm,
other important dates after that, you have Halloween Horror Nights coming in the fall. Last year it
mhm.
started on August 30th, so look for it to start at the end of August, like the last weekend in August. It seems like that's like the date that's gonna start up. Uh,
Yeah, it worked out really, really well for them this year, so, I think they're going to stick with those August dates, and maybe potentially, I don't know, we'll talk about it when speculation season starts, if you have me back. We'll talk about it when speculation season starts. But, Maybe possibly, we'll see that, like, extra night that happened kinda mid-August. I'm seeing rumors of that starting again too, that they're gonna do that
Yeah,
again, where it was like a you
it was
pay, like,
yeah,
$300 or something for it,
yep,
and it was like a preview night, in the
yep,
same way that they do, like, team member previews or, just, like, things like that, or, like, the media nights and things like that.
that's like that, like, social media night, basically, like,
Mhm.
everybody every influencer gets down there on that night, and they hey, if they can make money off of it, why not, right? So, um,
Universal, bring us to HHN.
yeah. Also in the fall, the Universal Studios store at City Walk is going to be expanding. It's going to be it's going to include a Super Nintendo World section, and this is the cool one for me. So there's going to be a Wizarding World section with its own butterbeer counter. So
I
I
heard about that.
so
I thought it was a lie. I thought they were making things up.
this is what I read online. So if it doesn't happen, don't come at me. But when like, this is like, at what point did you think that this should happen? Like, it should have happened years ago, right?
Absolutely. There
Like,
should
why is
be
it
butterbeer on City Walk.
yeah,
Why don't we have butterbeer on City Walk?
like, and don't tell me JK Rowling is like, "No, you can't have it outside." Just stop already, alright?
It's
Just
butterscotch soda.
yeah, come on,
Like, come on.
come on. You know you'd sell it everywhere. Like, you sell it everywhere. Like, it doesn't make sense, and I guess this is probably like, oh, the section's gonna be all themed correctly, and then you have the butter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess it's gonna have to be like that. But like, people just want to drink it. Like, that's it. Just go. It would be great to have like all the butterbeer selections
Yeah.
at the same time.
I just like at this point, just like give me a kiosk outside. Just give me
Yeah,
something.
like
I want to drink butterbeer while I'm walking around or like waiting for a reservation or just like perusing the shops. Let me
exactly.
have butterbeer.
Listen,
That's what I want.
if you don't want to prove it, call it something else. Everybody will know what it is. Magical drink. Go ahead. Wizard drink. Right? And that's it. And everybody's just walking around with wizard drinks. Like, it doesn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop already. Like, everybody wants it. Just give them what they want. And especially like, especially in City Walk, it would be huge. It would, and
Yeah.
I can see it as like a little walk-up kiosk, right? Like, that would
Mhm.
be like a little walk-up window, and then you can get all your like treats and stuff. Like, that would be great. It'd be
They
nice.
could repurpose a freestyle machine into a butterbeer station.
How great would that be? That'd be awesome if they could do, I don't know how they do this, but if you could get all 7 in a vending machine type thing, right? Like, where
Mm.
if you want the fudge, you click a button, it pops out. You want the
Mhm,
hot, it'll dispense hot butter beer, frozen.
mhm.
It would be cool. Like, it would be very, very
Well,
cool.
and then you could do things like you could have pumpkin juice in there too, or you could have the Gilly water in there too.
Oh my
Um,
that would be amazing. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'm saying
Yeah,
they
we
need
need
to
to
repurpose a
hear
freestyle machine so we can have
exactly.
butterbeer on City Walk.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. Like, it might work. It I don't know if they're gonna do it, but it would be cool.
But
And
they
then it
should,
doesn't
and
work
that's the
it
important
doesn't
part.
work with your park refill things, and then you have to buy a separate one for the butterbeer, but I guess anybody would pay for that, I guess, at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, to finish up, you have the holidays at Universal, which is still going on now, but, that's gonna start up in mid-November. We did a few episodes this year on Grinchmas and stuff like that, and it's such a huge they're doing such a great job with the holidays at Universal, and especially just focusing on the Grinch is like, it's really
Yeah.
cool to see. Yeah, it really is. So you have anything else to add for 2025? Anything that you're looking forward to? Or I got pretty much most of them.
No, we're just kind of in the end game now, just waiting for Epic Universe.
Yeah, just waiting. Just a waiting game now. All right,
Yeah.
so that'll do it. I want to thank you, Taylor, for coming on today. Um, where can everybody find you?
On Instagram at TaylorMade Travels.
All right, follow Taylor at TaylorMade Travels. Like and follow and subscribe to University Epic Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Also, listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Um, and if you're on Apple Podcasts, try to rate and review if you're listening. That would help us out. Also, join the Universally Epic Tips and Trips Facebook community group. Um, this episode has been brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. If you have any Universal Orlando trip planning questions or are looking to book your next trip, email me at jim.klein@themagicforless.com or message me on social. And like always, have an epic week, everybody. Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Universally Epic Podcast, your go to Universal trip planning podcast. I'm your host and travel agent, Jim Klein. And in today's show, we will discuss the big news. See what happened? Jesus Christ. I just said
Every time.
to say it. All right. All right. Here we go. And we're back. All right. So, I know. Oh my God. I can't- All right. Right.